what's happening? This is Uncle J here. I can be talking to you about anything in the world, but today I'm going to give my recap on the UFC 154 event between GSP versus Carlos Condit, and then I'm going to give my predictions on the upcoming UFC event that's going to be headlined by Ben Henderson versus Nate Diaz. Okay, let's look at Carlos Condit versus GSP. In my prediction video, I said that Carlos Condit, being more active, good stand-up, okay, submission wrestling / jiu-jitsu. Touch on the fact that GSP for me was the superior fighter in terms of skill set. Black belt jiu-jitsu, stand-up that it consists of good boxing, Kyoshin karate, and obviously good offensive wrestling. I also touched on the fact that on a normal day I felt GSP would beat Carlos Condit, but the fact that we weren't quite sure how GSP would look coming back in terms of his knee injury, whether he would be the same, that was the X factor in terms of making me see the fight as a 50-50. However, I did say in the end that I felt GSP will win by decision, and that's exactly what happened. GSP came back. He did say with his own words that ring rust did play a factor, but he looked like the GSP we had come to expect over the past couple of fights. Mixed up the takedown and stand up really well. I knew wrestling was going to be a problem for Carlos Condit, and I touched on that in my prediction video. Touched on the fact that if you look at the Rory McDonald fight, Rory McDonald took down Carlos Condit quite a bit, and GSP is a far better wrestler than Rory McDonald is, and he has far better stand up than Rory McDonald. So I just saw all sorts of problems for Carlos Condit if GSP was on point, and he was on point. Carlos did have some good moments. He was very active off his back, going for a lot of submission attempts, even though GSP's top game did dominate him. And he had the moment where he actually knocked GSP down with a very nice combo. It's kind of his trademark combo where he throws a punch, ducks under, and then comes up with a head kick. And he caught GSP clean, knocked him down. You could see Carlos smelt blood and was going for the finish, but GSP was able to recover. It was a good fight. I mean, GSP won every round, but Carlos did quite well. He showed that he's no chum by any means of the imagination, and he did quite well. Will he ever be able to beat GSP? I would have to say no. The only way Carlos Condit will ever beat GSP is if he catches him when he's old or injured, but they're kind of close in age. I mean, GSP is 31, Carlos is 29, so basically when GSP is old, Carlos will be old. So basically, as long as GSP is welterweight champion, Carlos Condit will never be welterweight champion. So where do we go from here? I don't know. I haven't seen the post press conference as I have made this video, so I don't know whether they're still gonna make the Anderson Silva versus GSP super fight. It just didn't seem like GSP is interested. I get the impression that GSP doesn't want to fight Anderson Silva. And to be honest, he doesn't have to. But it would be interesting. And it'll be interesting to see. There are all sorts of contenders for him at welterweight. But part of me would like to see him go up against Anderson Silva. So we just have to see what happens, isn't it? Now, I'm going to give my prediction on the Ben Henderson versus Nate Diaz. Okay, let's break them down. Ben Henderson, brown belt in jiu-jitsu, great offensive wrestling, great defensive wrestling, great hands, black belt in taekwondo, has a lot going for him. Nate Diaz, typical Diaz fighting style, good boxing, good jiu-jitsu, black belt in jiu-jitsu. So, stand-up wise, I would have to say pretty even. If I was to give anyone a slight edge, it would be Nate Diaz, and that's only because of his reach. But then Ben Henderson can match that reach by kicking, and because Nate Diaz isn't an offensive wrestler, he can actually get away with kicking and still being able to defend the takedown, because Ben Henderson has a pretty good base and he is a wrestler. Wrestling wise, definitely Ben Henderson. Ben Henderson will be able to take Nate Diaz down all day long. Jiu-jitsu wise, I would have to say I'll give Nate Diaz a slight edge only because he's a black belt and Ben Henderson is a brown belt, but any jiu-jitsu practitioner knows that once you're purple belt upwards, it tends to be anyone's game. But I would have to give the slight edge to Nate Diaz because he actually does use jiu-jitsu as a port of call to finish people and to cause problems for people. I don't know, in terms of determination, I have to say it's 50-50. It's actually a toss-up. It's one of those fights that if any one of them won the fight, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm going to have to give the edge to Ben Henderson, simply because I just feel he can hang with Nate Diaz on the feet, he can hang with Nate Diaz on the ground, and he has superior wrestling. On top of that, I think he has a lot more options in terms of striking-wise. And if you look at the fight between Cowboy Cerrone and Nate Diaz, you can actually see, as well as Nate Diaz being vulnerable to a wrestler, if you have good kicks in your arsenal, you can give him a lot of problems. If Cowboy Cerrone didn't come out rushing out like an idiot, he might have actually beaten Nate Diaz. And I think Ben Henderson is a lot more calm and collected than Cowboy, and he does have good kicks. So I just think Ben Henderson can give him problems in the kicking department and in the wrestling department. So I'm going to go with Ben Henderson in this fight. However, it's one of those things that if Nate Diaz won, I wouldn't be shocked. But I'm going to go with Ben Henderson. And I see him beating Nate Diaz via decision. As usual, like in all my videos, I like to give a scripture at the end of it, and the scripture I'm going to give today is going to be Hebrews 10 verse 24 to 25, and it just touches on the fact that, you know, as Christians, one of our major aims in life is to be a blessing to other people. I mean, other parts in the Bible just touch on the fact that God has loved us so that we can love others, and I think this scripture kind of reinforces that notion. Hey! So yeah, subscribe, leave a comment, talk about the other fights on that card that I haven't mentioned, and if you disagree with my prediction or analysis, let me know. I know there's a lot of good fights I didn't talk about on that Ben Henderson Nate Diaz card. Like we have BJ Penn versus Rory McDonald, and there's another fight that we have that I thought that was really good. That I saw that I thought yeah, that fight looks good. Let me see. I'm gonna actually look that up. Oh yeah. The fight is Shogun Rua versus Gustafsson. So yeah, you know, those two, as well as that fight, I'm interested in those fights. Tell me what you think about those fights: BJ Penn versus Rory McDonald and Shogun versus Gustafsson, and let me know whether you agree with my prediction of Ben Henderson versus Nate Diaz. Also, if you like the scripture I left and you're interested about the whole Christianity, feel free to check out my weekly show called Bible Study with Uncle Jay. As usual, take care, live long, and prosper, man or woman. Later.
Yeah. Lord, right now I'm embarrassed, cause I've turned to so many other alternatives. Lord, right now I can't manage. Right now I feel damaged, cause the world has deserted me, but I have deserted you. So who do I turn to? I'm lost, I'm speaking honestly. Right now I offer humble apologies. Yeah, I've gone through baptism, but take for granted the fact that you've risen. I'm in prison with visions of sinning. I heard they take blood for bail, so please use yours cause I know it's real. I feel not worthy and close to hell. I've picked the last straw, I can't be bold. So Lord, come and take control.
I need you. No one else compares to you. No one else compares to you. I need you. I'm lost without you. I'm searching. Lord, I need you by my side. Lord, I need you as my God. I need you. I'm lost without you.
I know you justify and redeem, but sanctified is too hard to be. Holy is such a hard thing to be. This ain't the first time I've been down on my knees. I've been seeking you for ages now, when it feels like in 10 years time I'd probably be at the same stage as now. Lord, I want changes now. I wanna pray like she does. I wanna get filled like he does. But why does